I said good day, sir.
You don't ever plan anything around the Eagles because the Eagles represent the grace of God.
Okay.
You heathen bastards.
What a vanilla nebbish name.
Well, you know, orcs are people too.
I'm thinking of that one cult that got taken out with one punch. So he's got a wall, a gall, and a wall. Every time you mention the Eagles, I think Don Henley. This is a Geek History of Time,
where we connect nerdery to the real world. I'm Ed Blaylock, a world history teacher with one section of English here in Northern California. As I always point out, I'm also the father now of a 2-year-old little boy with who may or may not have asthma, which is going to become germane to the conversation in a minute. Who are you, sir, sitting on the other end of an electronic connection this evening?
Yeah, I'm Damian Harmony. I am a Latin teacher and a high school world history teacher up here in Northern California, the father of a 7.5, almost 8-year-old, and a 10-year-old little girl and little boy. And yes, I'm sitting on the other end of the internet from you because this episode is, I hate to use the phrase, a very special episode, but in some ways...
Well, you know, we talk about nerd nostalgia so much that, a very special episode, capital V, capital S, capital E, seems kind of appropriate.
Yeah. This episode we're recording on the first day of spring. It's actually my dad's 77th birthday.
Really?
Yeah, it's March 20th. And my...
Shit, it's equinox, isn't it?
Yeah. Our entire world shifted hugely in the last week alone, although something had been kind of burgeoning for a while. COVID-19 made its way to our shores a while back, and it has now become a worldwide pandemic. Yeah. And we are not across from each other.
Because we are located in a region of Northern California where both of the counties we live in have individually, separately from one another, before our governor's statements a little more than 24 hours ago. They called for residents to shelter in place, which essentially means we are not quite on lockdown, to the level that folks have been in Italy now for a couple of weeks now. But we are called upon to remain indoors unless we absolutely need to go out to do anything.
It's a couple steps below martial law in a lot of ways in terms of severity. But we are both teachers, we're both in a profession that got shut down pretty quick. Luckily, our state values teachers on some level, and so that's been okay. But our students, I have not seen my students since Friday. Most of them I haven't seen since Thursday of last week. And so it's been a week. And I am now trying to figure out ways to design lessons so that my program doesn't die, so that my kids learn and can go on to the next level, and so that they have some sense of normalcy. And so I'm kind of taking...
That last one is going to be...
As best I can.
That last one is going to be really tough. Yeah. Well, that's all any of us are doing.
Yeah. And I'm taking matters into my own hand because bureaucracies being what they are, I'm going to get this shit done a lot quicker and better than anybody above me. I'm also kind of unique. In my district, I'm literally the only person who knows the language that I teach. So I know...
Wait, okay.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry. Back up.
Sure.
How many students roughly does Sacramento Sac City Unified have?
About 50,000.
Okay. Your unit has approximately how many credentialed, certificated personnel?
I think it's around 2,100, maybe 24. There's a line in one of the numbers,
Okay, and you are, no shit, the only Latin teacher.
Yeah. And I'll go you one better. There's one
You're
principal.
a fucking unicorn.
Yes, I am. There is a principal at a middle school that I was an undergrad student with who I met in my Latin 1 class. He's the only person I know of in the entire district who knows any Latin at all. And he didn't go nearly as far as I did because he and I took Latin 1 together.
Because he's not teaching it, obviously.
Right. Yeah. But there's nobody like you could find other people who know Spanish. You could find other people who are specialized in other languages. Nothing for Latin. I am the only one. So I'm trying to keep this thing going. But more importantly, my students, because I'm the only one in the whole district, I get my students for 4 years very often. And so I get to watch them grow up from children into adults. It's a wonderful, wonderful bond. And so I'm fiercely loyal to them. And so I'm looking for all the ways that I can to make sure that the damage done by this disease to their schedules and to their normalcy and to their learning is minimized. Never mind the fact that I don't get to see them. And many of them have reached out to me saying, like, the worst part is I don't get to be in your class. So it's very validating, but that's what's going on. So like next week, I'm going to be designing lessons and posting stuff online, videos and such of translations and whatnot. So that's what I'm doing for the job. What are you doing for your job?
Right now, my district. So
now you named mine. Go ahead and name yours.
Yeah. Okay, Fairfield Sassoon Unified School District. Okay. It's only fair. I apologize. I realized only as it was coming out of my mouth that I was fair. Like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that.
People are going to confuse us anyway. So
yeah, well,
I'm the one that works in Elk Grove, and you're the one that works in Lincoln.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah. Nobody we're not in San Francisco. We're not in LA. Nobody cares about where the fuck we are. Nobody outside of California. Anyway.
Right. I'm at Millard Fillmore High School up in Siskiyou County, and
there you go.
Yeah,
yeah, and I'm in Roseville.
Yeah.
Whatever. Again, to anybody who's not in Northern California, those words mean bupkis.
You're at Calvin Hockley Middle School, if I recall.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
he's the bad guy from Titanic.
We'll go with that. Yeah. And he's the kind of asshole who'd have a middle school named after him too.
Yep.
But my district, Fairfield Sassoon, I was literally saying until Thursday of last week, I was literally telling people we are no kidding going to have somebody in our district actually get confirmed as having the disease before our district is going to shut anything down.
Right.
And when and if we go back before the end of this year, which is a whole other conversation we can have in a minute, I'm going to have to bring donuts for a whole bunch of people on my campus because I was chatting during my prep period with one of our campus monitors, and I said, you know what, I will buy everybody donuts if we actually get shut down. Because you need to understand, my district was very close to the Napa fires a couple of years ago. And it took air quality getting toxic for them to shut classes down for like 2 days.
Yeah, we did the same. Now, the argument there was at least that, at least for my kids, the ventilation at home might have been worse than the ventilation at school, so it was a safer place to keep them.
That was part of the argument with us. I never entirely bought into it.
Okay.
But anyway, because of that, I was highly skeptical that my district was ever going to shut things down, and so I made that bet. And so if we go back before the end of the year, and if I don't find a job in a different district over the summer, which I want to stress this. The biggest reason it's not the only reason, but the biggest reason I'm looking for one is simply because right now, where I'm working is a killer commute for me. I'm having to travel a very long distance for those of you who aren't personal friends who are listening to this podcast. And so then it came as a shock.
Sure.
When I got the email on Friday afternoon that, okay, as of the end of the day today, we're shutting down. Don't come back on Monday.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you got your notice,
and actually, wait, that might not have been that might have been on Thursday. We might not have gone in Friday. I'm trying to remember.
Okay.
It feels like the weirdest thing about this whole experience is that thing you get speaking as teachers. I know one of the things that winds up happening to me is I've got to find a way to make myself remember what day of the week it is during summer break.
Yes.
And usually that takes me about a week and a half to get to that point of I don't know what day it is, I don't know what time it is.
Sure.
I'm floating free in this weird limbo. That happened to me instantaneously.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
And I don't know if it's just because of all of the free floating anxiety that's surrounding all of these things, but like I had to remind I'm a Catholic, as anybody, you listeners, you guys already know the back and forth about that. And we're in the middle of Lent. And so today is Friday. And I had to remind myself that it was Friday because of observance. I had to be like, oh, wait, right. The plan for dinner is, we're doing a shrimp Caesar salad because, I can't do that thing. I was thinking, okay, well, so I got the leftovers from the New York strip steaks we had last Sunday. I can do something with it. Wait, no, I can't. It's Friday.
Right.
And I'm in that weird place, and it's made even weirder because since Tuesday, I think, my wife has been working from home.
Okay.
Or no, since Monday. She got word on Friday that her office was being closed. They were all being sent home. And she's been working from home all week. And on Monday, we wound up taking our son to daycare. Actually, that would have been on Tuesday. We took our son to daycare because I had to report in to my work site in the morning. Which originally... Anyway, this all ties back to the point I was trying to make a minute ago. My district kept telling us, okay, go to Solano County Office of Health for the latest updates on what's going on. And they said, we have a plan, but they never told us what the goddamn plan was.
Right.
And
it's guarded by a leopard in a downstairs basement and in the men's room.
So, and I'm like, okay, so stop. Tell us what the plan is.
Right.
You don't have to go into exhaustive detail. I understand maybe there's stuff that needs to be eyes only. I understand you don't want to cause a panic, whatever. But when you tell me, well, we have a plan, but we're not going to tell you what the plan is, that immediately causes my bullshit detector to go ding, 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 ding.
Right.
I don't really have a plan. And then we got told, okay, don't come in Friday or Monday. I think Thursday was the last day I went in. Okay. And then we got told, don't come in Friday, don't come in Monday. And, your site administrators are going to tell you what to do Tuesday. And then the story from my site administrator of what the hell was going to happen on Tuesday changed 4 times over the weekend.
Right.
Because there wasn't a fucking plan.
So what are you doing for your classroom? What are you doing for your kids?
Right now, what got handed down to us from the district was from the day we didn't show up, which was Monday. I'm thinking about it now. From this Monday through until the 30th of April, we are not giving any instruction that is required. Nothing that is going to get graded. Nothing in anything we're providing. Okay. Anything we are supposed to provide during that time period is all enrichment. Yeah. And then on the 30th, we are supposed to go back in right now. Right. This is the plan as it stands. And with everything else right now, everything changes.
Now, March 30th or April 30th?
March 30th.
Okay. You're supposed to go back. Yeah.
We're going in March 30th.
Okay.
And that's going to be a site meeting at which what we've been told is, okay, so now you're going to get together with the other members of your department,
Better be
which
a
in
big
my
room.
case that's like three of us.
Okay.
We're gonna meet with the other members of our department and figure out, okay, as the history department, like, what are we gonna do?
Right.
And my job there is going to be to walk one of the third leg of the history tripod.
Sure.
I'm going to be walking him through, okay, remember, this is what you got to do to set up your Google Classroom. Mm-hmm. And right now that's what the district is pushing real hard, is Google Classroom.
Okay.
Which I'm okay with from the standpoint of, okay, well, provide assignments and grade stuff and turn stuff back.
Sure.
I genuinely don't have any. I'm going to admit that right now I'm having a little bit of existential professional panic right now.
Okay.
Over what I am going to do in terms of instruction. Because I am loath to set up like a Zoom and say, okay, everybody show up at this Zoom meeting at this time for half an hour.
Right.
Because I teach middle schoolers. Like for a university professor, Zoom is a great tool. Mm-hmm. I'm teaching middle schoolers.
Yeah, they don't show up on time to class as it is.
Number one, they don't show up on time. Number two, all of their focus is social before everything else. Mm-hmm. So the moment I put anything up on Zoom, they're going to show up. They're going to see their friends in that Zoom room, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. In that setting, they're going to have the opportunity to chat with friends who they haven't spoken to for 2 weeks.
Right.
And whatever I'm trying to give them goes out the window.
Sure.
So, like, while I'm at home trying to wrangle my son, trying not to get in the way of my wife who's trying to work from home at the same time, while I'm trying to do all that, I'm also somehow supposed to find a way to, like, rein them in and get them focused on curriculum.
Classroom management, not in the classroom. Yeah.
Yeah,
where they all have their devices literally in front of them instead of you have to put that away. Yeah. I'm doing everything as opt-in as possible. As far as that goes, and it just like, I'm posting this. This is where you can find this information. You email me what you have, and I will correct it with you, and I will give you feedback, and I will, show you a better version of a translation. That's basically it. For the world history kids, I honestly, I don't think there's much to do. Now, the funny thing is for me, for the world history, and then I want to move on to another aspect of this whole thing.
Yeah.
For world history, I had just started World War I with them. I had just handed out a novel to them because I'd bought a class set of novels. Luckily, I have records as to who got what novel, so I can keep track of that and hunt those kids down next time. But I just handed out novels to them to write their term paper because that was a quarter of their grade on the Armenian genocide, and I was going to teach them about World War I. We got to everybody's ready, and the Archduke is pulling into Serbia. Like that's where we got. So they have no idea what's about to happen.
You literally, you literally got to like the 3/4 point in episode 1 of the series.
Yes. So now that you know who all the players are,
the exciting event hasn't even happened yet.
Right. So a triggering event. So my kids, and then after that, after World War I was over as a lesson, and that was going to be about a 3 or 4 week deal, because I go pretty deep on it. Then I was going to do a unit on the influenza epidemic, because that's never been taught well in our textbooks. So I was like, oh, well, I'm going to do this since I'm crazy Uncle Damian. And so I was going to teach about the influenza epidemic, and then I was going to teach about the rise of fascism. And it's weird when you have such wonderful real-world examples to draw on.
And then you don't get the opportunity to teach them.
Well, when they actually interfere with your ability to teach them. It would be like if I did a unit on book burning and then somebody said my curriculum needed to be burned. I mean, it's like on that level of like, well, I was a little behind the curve.
Yeah, or if somebody actually marched in your classroom, grabbed all of your books, and set them on fire.
Right. So
I think somebody saying your curriculum needed to be burned isn't quite as on the nose
You're right.
as current events are.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to point that out.
And they are. I mean,
this context.
And now I want to point out, this is a once in a 4 lifetime event that we're living through. I talked to my dad. He's 77 as of today. He was born in 43, which means his parents were of age, like 20 years prior to that. So they were born probably just after the war or just during the war. So like his grandparents would have memory of this stuff happening, which means nobody living right now has memory of this having happened, because it literally was 102 years ago.
No.
PBS did a big thing on it.
Yeah, no.
So there's that happening, and we're both trying to raise children through it. And what I was talking to my students about as we were because it was getting worse, and I told my principal, like, you need to cancel this rally. That was on Thursday. Those halcyon days of last Thursday where there was some question as to whether or not we were going to have a rally. I was like, no, you need to cancel it. And he was very reasonable and listened to what I had to say and as to why, and he had no problem canceling it. And then I went to him that afternoon. I said, now about the prom. And then the next day it was, oh yeah, you're going to shut down for a week. And then it was, that week gets turned into like, and one of the reasons you kept getting different stories through the weekend was this. Yeah. And I'm going to give a lot of grace to leadership here, and I don't normally, because this is once in a 4 lifetime event. I mean, it really, really is. So I'm going to be a little bit more understanding about that happening. We are making it up as we go, and they didn't have vaccines back then, and they didn't have the infrastructure that we have right now. But I was talking to my students about it. I was like, this is awful, because your first year here, we were picketing outside the district. Your second year here, we had a active shooter threat and bomb threat, so we had to evacuate the school. Your third year here, we went on strike. Your fourth year here, your senior year, you are having to leave a quarter early because the whole world is having a pandemic. And what really got me was I realized a lot of my seniors were born in July and August of 2002, which means they exist because 9/11 happened. Yeah. And
that's sobering. That is a sobering goddamn thought.
They were brought into this world by calamity, and their school is ending by calamity.
Yeah, they're coming of age in the middle of an even bigger calamity than the one that led to, that was the inciting event for their own lives.
Yeah. So I want to read a couple of things.
It's a sobering thought.
Yeah. I want to read a couple of things to you, and then I'm going to ask you a question, and then we should get out of here because, hey, come listen to Geek History of Time and get really depressed about what's going on.
Really, really depressed. Yeah.
So at current, there are 276,462 coronavirus cases. There are worldwide. That's worldwide. Yes. There are 11,417 deaths as a result of coronavirus. I think that number would be higher if you look at who didn't get the care they needed because corona was taking up all the beds. 91,954 have recovered, which means you have 173,091 active cases. 165,180 of those are considered in mild condition. 7,911 are considered in serious or critical condition. I have a friend who lives in Italy. He said that yesterday there were 2,500 new cases that day, or as of midnight that night. And yesterday, army convoys had to be called in and 450 people died that day. And army convoys had to be called in to take out the dead to crematoria. We are 11 days behind Italy. Hopefully we'll do something different. But history is not showing that that's the thing. And if you look at the scale of deaths that are happening, it looks like a hockey stick. And
the curve is frightening.
Yeah. And this is a thing that, I mean, we're looking at school being shut down potentially through to the fall, if not longer.
Yeah.
We are looking at a tremendous economic disaster as a result because so many people can't work.
Yeah, huge economic downturn.
Huge. The site of which we've only studied about in history, and I didn't even get to it this year. You know.
Yeah.
We are looking at. I mean, I'm a comic. I have a lot of friends who are comics, in addition to being a teacher. And so many of my friends are like, "How am I going to pay rent this month?" Like, there's so much squeezing happening to everybody, and there's this weird hoarding thing that happened, and there's just this tremendous there's a huge panic. And again, I give us a bit of grace on that, but at the same time, this is a symptom of how toxic our society has become, because we don't go for collectivism at all, and we're being faced with the fact
we don't
that,
look out for one another. We look out for number one.
Yeah, our patriotism isn't about how are you taking care of your neighbors that you don't know across town. So I guess my question is how to put this. How is your, and with as privately or as publicly as you want this to be, how is your family handling this? Feel free to give any specifics, and then I'll tell mine, and then we'll both just kind of take a look at what's coming up in the future.
Well, here, my wife and I have said basically from the moment we were officially a couple, we kind of have a standing policy that one of us is allowed to freak out at any given time.
Good policy.
And we take turns. And the weird thing is, in the days leading up to my school shutting down, I was the one who was quietly, but gradually less quietly over time, starting to freak out. Because I was, we have, I have something like 150 and change student contacts daily.
Right.
And like just the sheer number of people I was in contact with on a daily basis, being in a classroom with recycled air, like all of it was just, and the thing is, I have hypertension that's controlled. I take meds for it. So like hypertension is one of the conditions that's supposed to be an exacerbating factor, but mine's under control. I wasn't really worried about myself. I was worried about my wife, who is asthmatic and also has hypertension.
Oof.
And so that's like a double whammy. And to a lesser extent, I was worried about our son, who is young enough that the virus is, spared most little kids up to this point. But my son may or may not be asthmatic. He may be getting that from his mom. We don't know for sure. He's had a couple of incidents where we've used an inhaler for him. And so I was worried about the two of them. And the other thing that what really had me genuinely freaking out is my 45th birthday is going to be 4 days from now. It's right now it's the 20th. And my parents were going to be coming up to visit for that. And my father was born in 44. My mother was born in 45. So they are both in their 70s. Yeah. They are both in an age category that puts them at risk. Now, my parents are both far fitter than I am. My mother historically has gone to some form of aerobic workout class, whether it's a spin class or Pilates or just aerobics or whatever, 5 days a week. Her cardiopulmonary system is like you could launch aircraft off of it. It's just like, she's ridiculously fit. My father, similarly, not quite as hardcore, but my dad has historically been very healthy. He's been very careful about being active every day, walks a couple of miles daily, all this kind of stuff. And then back in December, my father got a really bad cold.
Right.
Which then turned into what we figured out at the end of all of it, just like last month, figured out that what wound up happening, the virus actually attacked his heart. He got viral cardiomyopathy. Or not myopathy, but anyway, viral cardio, something which looked like heart failure, looked like congestive heart failure.
Mm-hmm.
And so he is still recovering from that.
Okay.
And in the process of recovering from that, he wound up having a fall off of a bicycle that led to him breaking 3 ribs. So he's also recovering from that at the same time. And so the thought, what I was worried about, what I was really starting to freak out about was not me getting sick.
Mm-hmm.
Was not even really my wife getting sick or my son getting sick, because I was pretty confident that, like, yeah, there are risk factors there, but we're still not, like, none of us have COPD. None of us have, really serious pulmonary stuff.
Right.
What I was really worried about was my dad, who is still recovering from this. If I wind up being the vector for the disease that kills him, I am never going to be able to live with it. Like, I mean, I recognize, I recognize that it's not my fault.
Yeah, and at the same time,
but at the same time, like, and so up until my site shut down, I was becoming more. I was having a harder and harder time not staring at the ceiling, worrying about that.
Sure. And
then my site shut down, and the coin flipped. I stopped freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the gravity of the situation and the enormity of the situation struck my wife for the first time when I was no longer going to be working for 2 weeks.
Right.
And then she had a freak out.
Sure.
Like I texted her to let her know that was going to happen, and I found out when we got home that night. She said she had to get up from her desk at work and go into the bathroom and cry.
Yeah.
Because it hit her really hard. She really freaked out. And so since then we've kind of been in that kind of mode that I've been like, okay, no, look, we're gonna stay inside. We're gonna do what we got to do, and we're gonna pull through this. We'll figure out. We'll take things the same way that we've taken parenthood for the last 2 years. We'll just do what we got to do. We got to do it, and we'll learn as we go. And And now that the enormity of the situation has come home to everybody, the weird thing for me about all of this is there's a great GIF that I've seen on Facebook going around that's out of Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with Holy Grail?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the scene where you got the 2 guards sitting outside the swamp castle.
I got sent this just the other day.
Yeah, and you see off in the distance, you see Lancelot running toward him, and he's little and he's far away, running toward him. And go back to the guards, and they're like staring, and then the same clip of Lancelot running toward him plays again. So he comes to the same distance up the hill, and that repeats like 3 times until finally, he's on him.
Yep.
And he kills one of them, runs through the gate, and the other one's like, hey, wait.
Yep.
And what's been done for that GIF is they've labeled Lancelot as coronavirus, and the 2 guards as WHO and the Trump administration or whatever. And it's like, hey, wait,
pandemic,
and I think that's the weirdest thing to me is like everybody in China was screaming and hollering about no, you don't get it,
right?
And anybody who knew anything about math, like I've got a friend who's a math instructor, math tutor at UC Davis, and he was like, no, let me show you the charts. This is what logarithmic looks like. Like, yeah, you can argue with me about a lot of stuff, but if you bring up math, I'm going to get insulted because that's literally what I do for a job. Like, look at math. And the thing is, it's like anything else in the world. If it's happening in a different part of the planet, if it's happening to different people, it's really abstract.
Yep.
Right up until it hits you, or and I think that's also, and again, I'm not when I say what I'm about to say, I'm not saying this as a criticism, because again, we as a society haven't seen anything like this since literally 100 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that particular bias, whatever the technical term is for that, well, it's not real until it happens, like in your backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that cognitive bias is, I think that is a real thing that is unfortunately going to get real people killed in our country.
Yeah.
And around the world. I mean, it's not just us, it's other countries also,
Mm-hmm.
but especially us.
Yeah.
And, I think the biggest thing I'm having trouble wrapping my head around
Mm-hmm.
is just the sheer enormity of it.
Yeah.
And the uncertainty, and we don't know when we're going to be able to go back to something like,
Yeah.
And part of what has me angry on a daily basis is, like, we still don't even have accurate numbers.
Until you'd have to have the infrastructure in place to be able to do that, and that was gutted 2 years ago. So
yeah.
It's,
that was gutted 2 years ago, and then we find out that our president put a pause on trying to get a test put out, because he didn't want the numbers to get too big and scare people, because that'd look bad for him in re-election. Like,
now, as of today, there was a reporter who asked, and then I'll speak to my experience.
Yeah.
As of today, there was a reporter who asked the president, "What do you have to tell Americans who are scared?" I'm Damian phrasing, but that was it. And he said, "I would tell them that you're a lousy reporter. That's a really, really nasty question." And he went in full defense mode on the most softball of pitches. And that's our leadership. Like, I don't pretend to not be politically minded. I don't pretend not to be biased at all.
Well, no, nobody who's a listener thinks that we're going to be nonpartisan here. But
oh my God, like it's rock bottom has a lot of give. Well,
no, it turns out rock bottom was made out of shale.
Yes.
And we've fallen through, and we're plummeting toward the Earth's molten core.
Yes. But it's just astounding. Like, the last time something like this happened, it was the Great Depression. Okay, it was not a huge epidemic. It was a huge economic just kerfuffle, fucked everything, right? And then prior to that, the last time it happened was during an epidemic. But the last time this happened, we had a president who got on the radio and calmed us the fuck down. We had a guy who had plans, who hired experts, who misstepped all over the place, and also made wonderful, wonderful repair jobs. Like, he did all that. Yeah. He was not going after the press for asking him the nasty question of, what do you have to tell Americans who are scared right now? He, 10 days ago, was calling it a hoax. Yesterday, he tweeted in all caps, social distance, and that was literally the only thing he tweeted in that message. I mean, he tweeted like 30 more times that day, making fun of political opponents, talking about how it's a Democrat hoax, et cetera, et cetera. Like, that, this is the time that we're living in. It's if you could have the worst possible person in charge of things during the worst possible thing to happen, we've got it. Like, we are seeing a test case of what it is.
We are solidly there. Yeah.
And
we are totally
the states
there.
are essentially on their own, and they're doing a good job overall. At least ours is overall. And I recognize that you have a bone to pick, and I'll let you pick that if you want. And if it's too specific, I completely understand. For the sake of listeners, in a second, I'll explain. But okay.
Go ahead.
But by and large, our governor in California has told people flat out, like, xenophobia is not helping us. I mean, our president literally crossed out the word corona and wrote in the word Chinese so that he could call it the Chinese virus.
And his staff are referring to it as the Kung flu.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry, stop for a second.
Yeah.
Like, no. All of you are fucks.
Yeah.
Like you are evil, shitty people who are not worthy of the positions that you are holding and you are making all of us worse. Like, I hate you, and you're
you're
making me worse.
literally leading to people being dead. Like, they're actually killing people with their ignorance. So I have a grandmother who is 94, 93. She's been in the hospital, I think, 3 times in the last month and a half.
Fuck.
Yeah. Now, she's fine, but how many more of those she got in her? I was talking with my mom about this, and it's one of those, there is no way our family's going to get out of this unscathed. My family tends to run a little older, as does yours. There's no way that my students are going to get out of this unscathed. On a personal level, I'll tell you what's going on with me. I'm a parent of kids who have to go back and forth between 2 homes. I'm divorced. We have 50-50 custody. And their mom works in the nursing field. And when it was a 3-week, and that's the thing, it's come out, and it, like, every time we hear about it, it's worse. Like, so at first it was, okay, we're going to send you home for the weekend, and then we're going to send you home through Monday, and then it's, you better stay away all week, and we'll come back Thursday. And then it was, okay, it's going to be 2 weeks. And then the governor comes out and says, no, it's going to be at least 4. And then. Yeah. And so when it was at the 3-week mark, we had a long discussion, and we try to be amicable. I'll put it that way. We had a long discussion, and it was agreed that I would, and I was in favor of this because I want my kids. It was agreed that I would take them for the duration of the 3-week lockdown. And then it got expanded to like 3 months pretty quickly. Like, this is, the governor said, you're not going back to school. The odds are very much against it. And so at that point, we said, okay, there's no way that that's tenable. If that's the case, then we'll just keep custody as it is, just trade these back and forth. Yeah. He called me yesterday saying, you're going to need to take them tomorrow morning because of just a few living situation things. I don't want to tell other people's stories, but essentially she is not comfortable being able to guarantee their health and safety from this virus, which, by the way, is starting to kill younger and younger people. That's a thing too. And she can't guarantee that. And so now I have my kids full time, essentially until further notice. And it's a discussion that she and I will have. I'm happy to keep them as long as I can, with the understanding that once things die down, we're going to try to get back to as normal as possible. My kids are going to be without their mom for an extended period of time, and they're going to be with me for that extended period of time. So the silver lining is they're going to be with me, but I have full-time custody of my kids right now, which is its own full-time job. And I'm glad to do it. And I'm glad to keep their education going and stuff like that. But that's what I'm seeing. And I have to explain to them in terms that they'll understand that this is a decision that is sad for their mom. And if we could have it any other way, it would be split, so that they would have time with their mom too. And that this is a sacrifice that we have to make for their safety. And that's hard when you have kids of divorce, when there's already emotional baggage and weight behind the fact that they have 2 homes when they used to have 1, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's a razor blade to dance on. At the end of the day, it's a pretty easy explanation, but that's easy for me at 42. I don't know that it's easy for my daughter at 7. I don't know that it's easy for my son at 10. But that's kind of what we've got going on over here at Outpost Harmony. Yeah.
Well, related to what you just said about nobody's, we're not going to get out of this unscathed. Mm-hmm. I have an uncle. Okay. Who is about a little older than my folks, a couple of years older than my folks. And I don't know how many years ago it was now, but it was over a decade ago. He got told, if you don't quit smoking right now, you're going to be dead in 6 months. And at that point, he crumpled up the pack of cigarettes he had in his pocket, threw it out. He has not touched a cigarette since.
Good for him.
Okay. which, like, holy cow, all the credit for willpower, like, in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But as he has gotten older since then, all of the time that he did spend smoking, a pack and a half a day has manifested as emphysema and COPD.
Sure.
And he has been working as an Uber driver.
Oof. Yeah.
And so my aunt, his wife, has told him, no, you need to quit. You're done. And he, with a combination of kind of fatalism and, I survived this long, whatever, kind of attitude, he said, well, I'll make sure they sit in the back seat. And like, oh, for God's sakes, no. I think my aunt has since put her foot down and he's been forced to quit, I think. But I'm not 100% sure. So like he's, he even before this whole series of events happened, we were talking about he's really not looking good,
Right.
And so, we're talking about we got to find a way to pack him in a bubble like right now. And at the same time, across the hall in the apartment complex that my family and I are living in, across the hall we have a neighbor who's, I don't know, probably in his late 50s, early 60s, and he is diabetic, has COPD, is still a smoker, and like conversations I've had with him from 6 feet away in the hallway. He asked me at one point because he knows that I'm a know-it-all, so he figured I might have an answer. He said, so if when you wind up dying from that, like how long does that take?
Right.
Like, because if he gets it, he was just in the hospital recently for other stuff. If he winds up getting it, like his chances are not good. Like really, really bad.
It's virtually a death sentence.
Yeah, and it's like, and members of my family. I don't want to say who all, but I mean, sure. There's grandparent of my son's 4 grandparents. Several of them have expressed frustration at being stuck inside and have asked, does anybody, on Facebook saying, does anybody here actually know anybody who has coronavirus? And it's kind of like, this can't really be that bad, can it? Kind of tone.
Right.
And, and part of its age, part of its, outlook, and part of it is, information sources. That like, well, it's the flu. What, the flu kills how many people a year? I tell you what, I'm so sick of anybody saying anything about, well, everybody's freaking out about this. We don't freak out about the flu every year. Well, yeah, we have a vaccination for the fucking flu. There's no vaccine for this shit.
Right.
And this is as communicable or more communicable than the flu, and it's about 5 times as lethal.
Yeah.
So don't come at me with your, well, we don't freak out about the flu bullshit.
Well, number one, we should. Like,
well,
that's
yeah,
like when people tell me, oh, there's no atheists in foxholes. I'm like, that's a good argument against foxholes. Like, like, let's not have a world where I have to start praying to someone else's God because I'm in fear of death.
Yeah, everybody's a socialist during a pandemic. Well, tell you what, how about we don't have any pandemics if you think socialism is so fucking bad?
Right.
Let's look at what the real problem here is. And so it's just the frustration on top of everything else with dealing with having to have those same kind of arguments over and over.
All right.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So how to put this? If our listeners have actually listened this far, number one, bless you both. Secondly, if I'm struggling with the words. Here's what I'm doing to deal with this. Okay.
Okay.
I am relaxing quite a bit on screen time for my kids. Grant you, my kids are old enough where that's a thing. You have a kid at an age that I would not want to be going through this right now with. My kids are reasonable. They can be reasoned with. I can talk them through their feelings. But it's how it goes. But here's what I'm doing. I am way more chill on screen time. I make sure that we all do something together. I am taking the time to teach them household chores. And like today I taught my kids how to vacuum. Stuff like just the little things, those little things that like we take for granted that we do. I'm also wiping down every doorknob of the house every day. I'm also making sure that we wash our hands the right way every single time. And I was never a big hand washer, and I've been washing my hands like assiduously for the last 15 days.
Same.
Because the disinfectant, the sanitizer, that's all well and good, but soap actually strips this virus down and kills it pretty quick. So I have no doubt that my kids being in school and me being a teacher and their mom being a nurse increases our risks of having the virus, but I'll be damned if it stays on us. It might stay in us, but it ain't going to stay on us. And so those are the things I'm doing. And the other thing I'm doing, my daughter loves to ride her bike around the neighborhood. I have drilled it into her that she is not to go to people's houses. She is to, if there's somebody on the sidewalk, she's to pull off into the street within reason because of safety. And she, get to the other side of the street. You could talk to people from across the street, but no closer. And our streets aren't only 6 feet wide, but I'm like, why take risks?
Better safe than sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I'm teaching my
kids.
6
feet. 6 feet is a hard distance for anybody who's not a sword geek to gauge.
But I'm teaching my kids these weird ass skills that have nothing to do with being a human being. Like, we are social creatures, Yeah. And so and I was talking about this earlier. It's weird what I'm normalizing for my kids in order to do my part to blunt the damage of what's going on. I've also holed up in Outpost Harmony. Like, we don't go very far at all. I haven't taken them on any kind of car rides except for from their mom's house. And I did all my shopping for the next 2 weeks about a few days ago. Like, I am ready to stay home this whole time. What are you doing physically in terms of how you teach and work with your son and whatnot? And then we'll close it up because I'd rather we did episodes about analyzing bringing nerdery into the real world instead of real world into our nerdery.
Or just real world. Yeah. I think it struck me just a little while ago before we started recording this evening. I'm trying to remember what triggered it. My son. We were going to be putting Robert to bed, and his mother said, "Okay, come on, it's time to go night night." And he as toddlers will do, he toddled away, and she said, "Come on, it's time to go night night." And he did. Not really. I'm not going to say for the first time, but for the first time in a little while, he actually very clearly, he enunciated it very, very precisely. He said no, and hunkered down, and we both, I called him by his full name, including his middle name. And his mother picked him up and put him in a timeout for it. And he had a meltdown. And what struck me, because you talk about you're able to talk to your kids and reason with them and talk them through their feelings and all that. It struck me that I think because of what's going on, my son is going to have to get a very early crash course in emotional intelligence, because we're going to need to be trying to teach him to recognize and tell us what these feelings are and have a talk with him about,
Mm-hmm.
When mommy tells you to do something, you need to listen to mommy,
Yep.
and when we get frustrated, that means we're frustrated, but we always love you, and
Right.
all of those kind of conversations, we're going to have to be doing that, I think, more consciously,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
I do. Yeah, that makes plenty of sense. I've
The
told my
same
kids
way that,
specifically, like, we need to make sure that we make room for each other
yeah,
emotionally, But again,
yeah,
I can speak that way to them.
and the same way that we're all now paying attention to the way we wash our hands, I think my wife and I are now, whether consciously, I mean, what happened this evening was me having the conscious realization, but I think subconsciously we've kind of been drifting toward it.
Mm-hmm.
Is the realization that, the same way that now we're all aware of the way we're washing our hands, now we've got to be aware of the way we're dealing with those things with our son.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to be much more mindful. That's the word I've been hunting for this whole time. It finally occurred to me. We're going to have to be much more consciously mindful of that. I am working very, very hard on being a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working very, very hard on being better, and the bar is set very low. So whatever improvement I make will be a lot better. About picking up my dishes, picking up my glass, picking up my stuff, cleaning up after myself when I do something. Because when Lee and I are both working,
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason that, I don't spot stuff. I just, my eyes drift over clutter because they just do. Now that we're not getting any space physically during the day, I don't want to wind up having that become, the thing that leads to friction, resentment, whatever.
Yep.
And just in the last few days, I've been working very hard to try to see the stuff that historically I just haven't.
Sure.
Which, is tough. And then one of the nice things about my wife and I having met when we did and having the life experience we had before we met is we were old enough and had enough mileage, as using a phrase I used before, you have enough mileage under our belt.
Right.
That we had most of our we had developed ways to constructively communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Before we actually met one another, because we had both been through some pretty shitty situations.
Sure.
And we had both figured out, okay, look, this is what I want, and this is how I'm going to communicate about what I need. And we were able to be honest with each other in a way that we don't take as an attack.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the communication and support skills for one another to deal with all of the emotional stress and all the trauma that this is creating.
Yeah.
And so I think just like emotional intelligence with our son is a big deal, exercising that same level of emotional intelligence with each other is a big deal. And whatever else it is that we wind up having to deal with over the course of however long this winds up taking, the next 18 months until there's a vaccine and we can all, get stuck with a needle and go about our daily lives.
Right.
Over the course of the next year and a half, or until the curve flattens sufficiently or whatever. Those are the things we're going to have to be exercising. Those are the things we're going to have to be paying attention to and working on. And I think that's those are the biggest things that I'm trying to do.
Okay.
And then other than that, I'm drinking. So that's how I'm coping. But
sure.
That I'm a Scot. So that's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
So
let's close this up because I'd rather get to other content.
We got a lot more stuff to talk about.
We do. So I guess the thing that I've gleaned from this is stay the fuck inside.
Yes.
Wash your goddamn hands.
wash your fucking hands.
This matters. We have not seen the worst of it yet. We're going into it, and that will last for way too long. So be prepared, be ready, and take it seriously so that we can flatten that curve. So yeah, wash your hands, stay inside, social distance, those things, and Christ, be patient and compassionate. So, well. Yeah. For a geek history of time, I'm very sad, and you are,
and I'm angry and frustrated with a lot of people in the world right now. So. And so until next time, as we already said, stay inside and wash your fucking hands.